That's a definition that on its own does not support the specificity of policies that follow from it, right? Racial quota systems in boardrooms. The fact that a company cannot list on Nasdaq unless it has a certain number of quotas filled by racial minorities or sexual minorities on its board. That is a much more specific instantiation that closely tracks my definition of wokeness.
I want to go over the lies of the followers of white supremacy. This particular guy is running for president. He also said this.
Single day voting on election day. We will make election day a holiday in the United States of America, so there's no complaints about it. Cancel Juneteenth or one of the other useless ones we made up, okay? We can't have like everything be a holiday, but we'll cancel one of the other ones and make election day a holiday.
Going back to your election security plan, you said you wanted to have a holiday. You said maybe cancel Juneteenth or one of those other useless holidays. Do you think Juneteenth is a useless holiday?
I basically do. Yeah.
His name is Vivek, and he also has a last name that I won't take the time to learn. We shouldn't be fooled by a non-white person espousing some of the tenets of white supremacy. We should know by now, this is a tactic. When white supremacist talking points are spewed, the deception, half-truths, and outright lies are sure to follow. It's like clockwork. When you believe in and devote yourself to such a depraved, unjustified system, these are the expected results. Now, the followers of this depraved and unjustified system aren't going to check the facts of the matter. They will just believe what the mouthpiece of the system has to say. At the end of the day, though, isn't it easier that way? Who wants to go through the anguish of checking it out for themselves? That's the thing about white supremacist talking points. They're not just wrong, they're fractally wrong. Let's get to this goofball and his lies. So the old white supremacist talking points of blacks forced to be given something that's either undeserved or unearned rears its ugly head again. This bit of dribble comes from the claim that
right, racial quota systems in boardrooms. The fact that a company cannot list on Nasdaq unless it has a certain number of quotas filled by racial minorities or sexual minorities.
Now, when I heard that, I suspected it of being a lie. When I heard the term racial minorities in a boardroom, I knew who he was talking about, and I knew who he was dog whistling to. So let's go over it, shall we? Got it right here. So here's the Nasdaq's board diversity rule. It's all of 3 pages. Maybe he just didn't have time to read it and wanted to just give his take on what he didn't read. Here's what the rule says. Nasdaq's board diversity rule requires companies listed on Nasdaq's U.S. exchange to publicly disclose board-level diversity statistics annually using a standardized template and have or explain why they do not have diverse directors. That's the rule. You can either have diverse directors or explain why you don't. It's not stopping anybody from listing for not having minority directors. Here it says by December 31st, 2025, or 2 years from date of listing, whichever is later, you should have 2 diverse directors or provide explanation. Let's go down further. Here is the diverse director objective. Companies may satisfy the board diversity objective prior to the end of the applicable transition period, as noted in the chart above. This rule is not a mandate. A company that does not meet the board diversity objective can satisfy the board diversity objective by providing an explanation along with its matrix in its proxy statement, information statement, or on the company's website. Nasdaq will verify that a company that does not meet the diverse director objective has provided an explanation, but Nasdaq will not assess the merits of the explanation. So it's basically saying this is what we want you to do, but if you don't do it, just give us an explanation that we will not investigate. That's very different than what he said. Let's listen to what he said again.
Right, racial quota systems in boardrooms. The fact that a company cannot list on Nasdaq unless it has a certain number of quotas filled by racial minorities or sexual minorities on its board.
Just a blatant lie. Lies that are fed to his followers. Lies that are perpetuated to keep his followers happy. They want to hear the only reason blacks, racial minorities, can get into a boardroom is if they stole a spot from a white person under threat of not being able to be listed on the Nasdaq. Let's be honest. Coming from a guy who parrots white supremacy wherever he goes, did we really expect anything more? No. No, we didn't.